Hello everyone, it's Nick and welcome to another video. Today is another video in my movie journal series, and the film we're going to be looking at today is A Quiet Place. Now, I wanted to do something for when A Quiet Place Part 2 was meant to come out earlier this year, but then it got postponed. But I still wanted to do something to do with the film. So I thought it would be cool to do a movie journal spread on the first film and then potentially do a poster redesign for the part 2 when it comes out, as I have a series where I am redesigning movie posters. So there'll be a link in the description and in the card to that as well if you're interested. So for this spread, I started off by putting some green paper down. And as you can see, in England we're actually going through a heat wave at the moment, so it was very hot and I couldn't bear to have like studio lights on indoors. It was honestly, it was in England, we're not used to that kind of weather, so I was doing this outside, so I apologise for the sort of lighting changes and the weirdness a bit, but you know, it creates some cool shadows, so you know, swings and roundabouts. So I decided to paint a shot from the film, and the cinematography in this film is next level by Charlotte Bruce Christensen. So, you know, there were so many shots to choose from, but this one stuck out to me of like the red light bulbs. So I'm using gouache for this, and I'm going in and I kind of put down the kind of block background green, and then built up the reds on top. And as you can see there, I used a bit of white for some of the red kind of bokeh in the background as a bit of a base, and then painted over later with red. This just kind of made it a bit more sort of vibrant. So I'd recommend that if you're painting on top of a darker colour and you want the top colour to be kind of more vibrant, I'd suggest putting something like a coat of white down first, because it just kind of makes it stand out a bit more. So yeah, using gouache and just kind of blocking in those colours, and then later on I go in with some colouring pencils to kind of put in some of the details like the filament of the bulb, and the things like the kind of little raindrops and condensation on the bulbs as well, and highlights and things like that. Now this film, like I said, the cinematography, the visuals on this is next level, as well as the sound in this. Or it's weird because obviously it feels like there's not a lot of sound design that's been put into it, but there's so much work into it that it's just so suspenseful and such a good, like, I really enjoyed this film. It was one of my favourite films of 2018, I think was when it came out, or was it last year, 2019? I think it was 18, I can't remember. But yeah, really enjoyed this film, and always love Emily Blunt, and John Krasinski did a great job directing as well as acting in it. So yeah. And then for the other spread, I wanted to do a few little things to sort of frame the writing that I do. So because they're kind of on that like farm type thing with all the wheat fields, and like the silo, I thought it'd be cool to do a few little bits of wheat. And then the rocket ship of the boy at the beginning of the film as well. So I went in first, kind of like I was talking about earlier, in white, and then I'll build up with kind of coloured pencil and some other gouache later on. And here I tried attempting to draw the monsters, to draw one of them. And here you can see that I'm using a white Posca pen to kind of draw the outline. But what I actually ended up doing later on was I painted all of this in white, and then I went on top and used a coloured pencil to put in the details instead. I thought it just kind of made it a bit more impactful. And as you can see, I'm using that sort of yellow to go over the wheat, and then adding in a bit more detail before using the Posca pen to add a few little sort of like marks and little kind of patterns, as well as a bit of the writing. I just like to write a few kind of couple of sentences about what I thought of the film, so when I look back through the journal I can see, you know, the things I liked and the things that I didn't like. And then I need to add the title, so I used some red paint after a kind of block of white, and then below was where I was going to add the director, and the director of photography, etc. Now, because it was so hot, I ended up finishing it off camera, but as you can see there, I used the pencil to kind of go in with the details of the monster and the plane, And again, just went in with the white Posca pen to add a few kind of little details and things as well. Likewise, on the other side, I added in some kind of like dots in the background, and added in the title as well as the director of photography and the director, just as a few little extra touches. And there we go, that is the finished spread. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I was a bit worried at first that the red and the green would look a bit like a kind of Christmas, but I don't know, it gives it quite a cool feel. It's not quite as suspenseful as the film, but it kind of gives it a bit more of a playful quality, which I quite like. So yeah, here is my movie journal spread on A Quiet Place. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for weekly art and film related videos. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. And do leave a comment below if you have any suggestions for films you'd like me to cover in any of my future series. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next week with another video. Goodbye.